You drank each other's blood.
Everyone around us seemed to think it was the weirdest thing ever.
It is weird.
We know each other so well I couldn't care less.
Right.
From the newsroom at news.com.au.
Joining me now is a radio royalty from the Gold Network. It's Jonesy and Amanda. G'day, you two. How are you?
Hi, Bucky. We're very well, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming in. You two have been on air together for 20 years. To celebrate that milestone, you've released a book called Pump Up the Jam, which looks at all the highlights from your time on air. It is such a bloody fun read.
Oh, I love that you said that. Thank you.
I just couldn't get enough of it. So it's available through Booktopia. I want everyone to go and get it. I want to ask you about some of the standout stories, okay?
Sure.
Starting with how you two got together. So this story was wild to me. To set the scene, Jonesy, you were on WSFM doing breakfast at the time.
Yep.
Your co-host left. You needed a replacement.
Yep.
The boss said, who do you want? You really wanted Amanda because you'd worked with her in the past at Triple M. And you wanted her so badly that you made a pretty ballsy offer to your boss. Tell us about that.
Well, it was at that point where it wasn't working. The show wasn't working. Coming 5 in a 5-horse race, and I thought they're going to get rid of me. And then it came to a point where I just said, "Look, if you get Amanda Keller on board, I guarantee you we'll go number one this time next year.
Wow.
If we don't, I won't honour the last year of my contract."
They didn't have to pay you out. That's what you offered to them.
So I had a pretty solid deal with them, signed up a 3-year contract, and and it was good money. And I just said, look, I'll leave. If this doesn't work, I'll leave this place. I didn't tell my wife any of this, and I don't think I told Amanda. But it was one of those things that was so. All I wanted to do was work a breakfast show with her, and I knew it would work. And here we are, 20
years later.
20
And you went number one within
a year, yes.
Yeah, well, 20 years, an incredible achievement. You obviously get on very, very well. But you mentioned in Pump Pump the Jam that there was one day you had a big argument during a particularly stressful show. Amanda, do you remember what that was?
Oh, that could have been. I need more details, Bucky.
Underwater show.
Oh.
Why were you broadcasting underwater, and what was the argument?
We can fight anywhere. We were going to break the world record for the world's longest underwater broadcast. We were going to do it in the Shark Tank at the Sydney Aquarium. And we had to practice. And weirdly, on the roof of our building was a swimming pool. So they wanted to see if the equipment would work. We had to wear full face masks.
Yes, so we could talk underwater.
So we looked like crazy alien octopus kind of
It was like
arrangements.
the ones those North Sea divers wear when they go down on oil rigs.
And it took me about an hour to get in and then out of the wetsuit. I was almost in tears before we started. I was trying to use plastic bags to get my hands in the wetsuit. It was I'm telling
was
the story.
beyond the pale.
And underwater, my ears wouldn't equalise, and there were leaks in the mask. My face was filling with water, and at one point, when we actually did it, snot. But you said, "Oh, come on, stop whinging."
No,
and I said, "You've got no empathy." We can actually recite it off by heart. We weren't aware that they were testing the equipment and were recording our underwater fight.
Right.
But look, it's not going to be a walk in the park. We know that. But
Brendan, if you just had, I know you think.
No, I don't.
You think
I don't.
that I am being unrealistic and being a whinger. It's okay, I'll do it. I won't talk to you. You have no empathy for anyone but yourself, you giant tool.
But that's just a classic example of us squabbling wherever we are, and Jonesy's lack of empathy.
There are so many wild stunts that you two have done over the years. You drank each other's blood.
This it sounds terrible when you put it like that. But
Yes.
we do a thing called TikTok Tucker, and stuff that's fashionable or stupid on TikTok, food that's being cooked, we were replicating. And this was the era, the few months where Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox were drinking each other's blood. And I said, well, let's see what that's like. And the levels of, we work in the same building with the same management as Kyle and Jackie O, and yet the lawyers that were involved in making this happen was outrageous.
They thought it was Kyle and Jackie O. They went, hang on, what is you guys? What are you drinking each other's blood?
And the level, we had to have blood tests, we had to sign disclaimers, we pretty much had to wear high vis.
No, we didn't have that.
No, but the face masks we did because there was
PPE.
blood products involved.
Yeah.
The worst of it was when we finally went to do it. It was we put it in vodka, and that was the horrible taste.
Wow.
I would have been happier just because I didn't care less. Did you care? Everyone around us seemed to think it was the weirdest thing ever.
It is weird.
We know each other so well I couldn't care less.
Right.
I think that was more of a you thing, but I did learn that none of us are HIV positive.
Always
we
a
had
win.
a clean bill of health.
What did it taste like?
Well, because it was
Vodka.
mixed in with the vodka, it tastes like vodka. Yeah.
Is there a radio
The
stunt?
Gandhi urine thing is coming up next year, where we taste each other's urine.
Are you actually going to do that?
No,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
joking.
I believe
No,
it.
that's not going to happen. That is not going to happen.
Well, there goes my headline. Is there a radio stunt or a break in general that you've done during your 20 years on air that you regret? For any reason.
I think one time we made fun of my daughter playing trombone.
Oh, yeah.
She was 8 or 9, and I played it on air, and then and a little heart was,
No, we didn't play her. We played a band that pretended to be terrible.
Yeah,
and said it was her.
and Amanda Romany was very upset. And she was only she's 28 now and she's moved on. But yeah, and there is that thing. There's a lot of, the hard thing is it's when you hear someone hears something third hand and they'll say in the schoolyard to one of the kids, oh, your dad was saying you're not the favourite son, or something like that.
That is what you said.
And then well, yeah, but in a jest. So when a kid feeds it back to them, it's never good.
And it's interesting. My biggest regret is also something I said about my son. I'd taken stuff out of his school bag. There were 18 uneaten sandwiches all smashed in the bottom. And I said, I should take a photo of this and put it on Instagram. He said, oh, don't. And yet I found myself saying it on the radio the next day. And Harley was in the car with him on the way to school. And Harley said his head just went back against the headrest. And I sobbed and sobbed all day. And it was a good lesson for me because I said to him, you have every right to be in a house where whatever you do is safe, where you have a chance to be a kid, to have your own private life. And that changed how I've tried to be really careful after that. But isn't it interesting for both of us, the regrets that we have are things that we've done personally.
But that's how we became close, because in the early days, when I was at Triple M, we did a rumour mill thing.
I was on holidays.
Amanda was on holidays.
And we used to have a segment. I was doing the show with Andrew, and we had a segment called Rumour Mill. And we had producers who would stop inappropriate rumours coming onto the air. And I was on holidays, and I'll just tell it from my side. I was on holidays, and someone we know phoned and said, should I be congratulating you? And this is in the midst of a long IVF process. I said, what do you mean? He said, they've announced your pregnancy on Triple M. And I wasn't pregnant. Yeah. I'd been seen coming out of a clinic. Yeah. And I thought, if Triple M can't protect me, if my workplace can't protect me, what the hell? Yeah. And Jonesy had been on air that day, and I admire the guts it took you to answer to that.
But also, this is what it comes down to with how good your producers are. So on the screen, it just said, for the rumour mill, Amanda Keller pregnant.
And didn't it say funny story?
And it said funny story.
I've been married 10 years.
And
how hilarious.
Amanda had been on Good News Week the week before they went on holidays, and her bosoms looked bigger. Remember, Andrew was making some sort of joke about it. And I said, there's a lot of times when you preempt what the caller's going to say. So they say, Amanda Keller pregnant, funny story. I thought, oh, you know what? It'll be a bosomy thing. Yeah. And I said, is this funny? Is it on the intercom? Yeah, go with it. Anyway, this guy comes over and he goes, yeah, I saw Amanda coming out of a ultrasound clinic, and the oxygen's just sucked out of the room, and it was going live to air. And I went, oh, okay, mate, thank you. Wound it up very quickly. I didn't even know that Amanda was going through IVF or anything like that.
But it could have been anything.
It could have been anything. It could have been cancer. It could have been.
Yeah.
But those producers, I remember at the time just going, well, that was shit. And that's the risk of live radio is your producers. You rely on them to, they can lead you to a great story. But in this case, it was dreadful. And I remember being so devastated. We didn't know each other that well.
We didn't know each other very well.
And I wrote her a letter.
I couldn't talk. I couldn't speak about it. I couldn't do anything. We're on holidays.
Understandably.
I just thought, who do I trust?
And I wrote this long letter. I wrote a letter. And I just, all it was, because friends of mine were going through IVF at the same time. And I remember talking to my mate about it. He goes, what are you, an idiot? Why would you do that? And I said, man, I didn't know. I said, well, what can I do? And he said, well, you do afternoon radio, she does breakfast, just avoid her for the rest of your life. So I wrote her this letter, and I can't remember what was in the letter. And it wasn't excusing my behaviour, but it was also, I think, touching on the human side.
To write that was, I always admired. But I didn't have the words to say to Jonesy, that's okay. I couldn't bring myself to even talk about it. I was so hurt and so upset. This was this private story. And that had always been our fear, that this private story goes public. And until you have a child, you don't want anyone to know of the battle you're having. But the first person you saw when you came back from holidays was me. Yeah,
and I was trying to avoid it, so I went around the sales area of where Triple M was, so I wouldn't run into Amanda. First person, and you gave me a kiss, and you just said, that was a great letter, we'll talk about it. And we didn't talk about it for years, like literally a couple of years.
I couldn't even reread the letter. I couldn't even keep the letter. I read it once and had to chuck it because it was just so scalding in my hands.
Oh, my handwriting was so good, though. I wrote about
His
4
penmanship.
drafts.
And it was on this little girly kind of paper, which I thought was cute. But your vulnerability in reaching out to me told me that you're a good guy.
And I bought that
Yeah, right.
stationery. I bought that stationery directly that day. Like, it wasn't like I ripped it out of someone's book.
It looked like you got it from your grant.
I went to the news agency.
I know that you've said in the past that you were worried that was the end of your
Yes.
relationship, but thankfully you two managed to put that behind you. You got together, and now
And
one
then
of
the
the great
first
radio
day,
shows.
after years, when I finally was pregnant, Jonesy was one of the first people I told. And I said, but I can't tell anyone because it's early days. And that afternoon I had to have some tests. I go into work the next day and he said, what's wrong? Why weren't you here? And I pointed at my son. He said, problem with your guts? And you'd forgotten already.
Well, I'm good to tell a story to. I'm a vault.
Speaking of, babies, I guess, there is a story in Pump Up the Jam which shocked me. It's about your vasectomy, Jonesy, and that you had to do a test to find out if the vasectomy worked.
Yes.
What happened for everyone who hasn't had the pleasure of hearing this story yet?
So, because you've got to get the sample to the...
Because we got to get the
You
sample.
got to get the sample
The pill in.
to the place within 20 minutes or something. So I went to
Is this your post-op sample?
this is the post-op sample to make sure that because what happens once they chop the little vas
I understand
deferens,
how it works.
the spermies can still impregnate. And Helen and I, my wife, we discussed that we weren't having any more kids. So I was very fastidious about this. So the doctor said, well, don't muck around with the sample. Get it straight within 20 minutes. And I said, well, it takes me 30 minutes to get home from work. So I was at Channel 9 on Carrie Ann's show.
Underneath the portrait of Eddie
No,
Maguire.
it wasn't underneath.
It was.
No, I was looking for some inspiration.
Where were you? You were in a green room.
I went to the toilet.
Oh, right. Sorry.
But there were big portraits of Eddie everywhere.
No, there was because Eddie was ruining, hang on, it's Freudian slip, ruling the place back then. So in between my time slot on CAC, had to quickly...
In Pump Up the Jam, you share stories about a number of celebrities that you've met over the years. There's a photo of you with Keith Urban.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you interviewed Keith in September 2024. This made headlines around the world.
Which has shocked me and made me so uncomfortable.
Did it?
Because to me, it wasn't any big deal. He was uncomfortable talking about Nicole. I thought, oh, that's weird because normally he talks about her and he seemed to shut it down. And I thought, it's not like Keith to be rude and say, well, let's move on.
Well, let's just play the clip now.
Okay, don't make me watch it.
Can I ask you, speaking of your amazing love story with Nicole, you met at G'day Australia. Is that what it was called?
G'day LA.
G'day LA.
Yeah.
If you hadn't both been there that day, would your paths somewhere have inevitably crossed? Or maybe this
Yeah,
incredible
probably.
life story wouldn't have
No,
happened?
I think it would.
Yeah? Are you a believer in fate, or do you think as two Australians it would have happened?
No idea.
Hmm. I just often think that if you weren't at that event, maybe you don't have the same friendship group. It may never have happened.
Well,
Never know.
You
but
never
it's-
know.
It's fate. It's the universe.
Anyway,
You'd
moving
like
on.
to think so. You'd like to think so.
All right, so clearly he did not want to talk about Nicole
No.
Kidman at all.
And I just wanted to get him to say she's fine or yes, isn't it lovely or something to round. I expected him to round off the conversation so we could move on to something else. But when it just stopped like that, I just kept going, looking at him, saying, "Hey, you releasing new music?
But
You know we're going."
You kept going.
No, but I would have thought he's spoken about her a lot. She's his muse musically. A lot of that stuff. He's writing new songs. I thought it's up to him to round that off. It's not my job to finish his sentences for him. So we just kind of sat there, and then it all ended a bit embarrassing.
And there was a point, and I have interview regret. I was going to pipe in. He doesn't want to talk about his misso anymore. And I was going to pipe in with that, but I could
we
feel.
just moved on. It just, and we
And
went
Keith's
to-
okay with
He
Yeah.
was okay. We
Well,
chatted
that's what
to
I
him
wanted to
afterwards.
ask. What was it like when that interview ended?
It was fine,
Beautiful,
and he
right.
performed in our foyer in the area downstairs, and we went and watched him play.
Yeah.
And he was friendly. There was no hangover of it.
I saw him in the
Okay.
toilets afterwards.
You weren't doing another sample. were you?
No.
Okay, so
So there was no hangover of angst
No.
or attitude. None of that.
but it made sense, I guess, when the news that Nicole and Keith had split up. I guess then you saw that in a whole new light, that interview, and it made
Usually
sense.
I can, and this is, and Amanda and I,
here we
it's a
go.
classic man-woman thing. Women always want to know, what's the secret of your relationship? Are you in love and all that? And men, and you can read them like a book. And I could tell that things weren't.
Oh, you're-
I could
you're
tell.
rewriting
Men can
history.
always. I'm not rewriting anything.
Yes, you are.
Can we talk about next year for a moment? 2026 is a year of change for
Yes.
Jonesy and Amanda. So you've been doing breakfast for years. Next year you're going into afternoons. You'll be expanding as well. You're going to be on the Gold FM stations in Sydney, Melbourne and Perth, digital stations in Adelaide and Brisbane. From what I understand, this was management's call. They broke it to you earlier in the year. When they told you, how did you feel about it at first?
Twofold. First was a kick to the ego, and we'd had our best ratings year ever last year, so it was a surprise. And then almost straight away, I thought, oh, phew, someone's helping me stop. It's life at doing a breakfast radio is hugely frenetic. It's like, as you say, chocolates on the conveyor belt of the Lucille Ball thing. It's a flowing river, and it's a voracious need to fill it with information, with stories, with everything. And so mixed in with my, well, hang on a minute, was, phew. And that's how I feel now is the few, is that we still get to do what we love, which is radio. But the universe has said, why don't you have a calmer existence? And I needed someone else to make that decision for me.
Wow.
Yeah, and it
But
was,
we still feel the ego ping.
it was it was a surprise for me. I was expecting a call for something else that was supposed to be happening, which didn't. And because I thought this is it. I had all these missed calls from my agent, and I never really hear from them about anything that's good. And I thought, well, this is good. This is 6 calls. And I said, so when do we start filming? And he said, no, that's not happening. And they want you to go to Drive next year. And I remember going, well, this is the worst call in the history of the world. So for me at that time, it was disappointing. But having said that, it's like what Amanda said. We've been doing this, and every time we sign a contract, it's always been 2 to 3 years. And so I always don't look any further than the 2 to 3 years. So there gets to a point where these hours, they just kill you.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about next year. I really am.
I would like to finish with a game, if that's okay. You two obviously know each
Share.
other very well, but I would like to find out just how well Jonesy and Amanda know each other. I've got 5 questions about the other person. I thought we'd start with you, Jonesy, okay? 5 questions
Here we
about
go.
Amanda. Question number 1, what's Amanda's middle name?
Rose?
Correct. Amanda has a slightly, in your words, manky thumb. On which hand is the manky thumb?
Oh, the manker. Hang
You
on.
spoke about it today.
No, I'm dyslexic with left and right. The manker,
Get it right, Brendan. That's no clue.
it's your right? No, it's your left.
I need an answer.
It's your right. It's your right.
It's the left hand, I'm afraid.
Wow. Call yourself a friend.
Sorry.
What is the thumb story? Can you just explain
when
it
I was
quickly?
born, I had
Did you
an-
ever see the movie Basket Case?
I've always been sensitive about this, and now here I'm having to explain it to everybody.
Can you show it on the cameras? Maybe you should pixelate this so it doesn't disturb the kids.
Stop. When I was born, I had another blop of skin there that got chopped off, and my nail. I always thought everyone's 2 thumbs were different. The nail doesn't go in, and there's like a.
Look at
it's
it.
called a high. Jonesy suggested I wear a hood on it,
Yeah,
like Elephant Man.
Because when she walks down the streets, little kids will run. Oh my God.
All right, I'll move on with the quiz.
Luckily, I'm sensitive.
Question number 3. What was the name of Amanda's memoir?
I wanted to be Serial Killer, but it was All That Palaver. Serial Killer and All That Palaver?
Natural Born Keller.
Natural Born Keller
My
and All
Life
That-
and Other Palaver.
And My Life and Other.
I'm not going to give you that one.
good.
In what year was Amanda first nominated for a Gold Logie?
Oh, well, I was part of that. That was 20.
You were part of it, Cher.
That was 2017.
No, it was 2018, I'm afraid. Okay, this is not going well. Last question for you, Jonesy. What is the name of the podcast that Amanda hosts with her friend Anita?
Double A Chattery.
Oh, very
Ask
good.
how many episodes he's listened to.
Every one of them.
No, you haven't.
Yeah.
No, you haven't.
All right, 2 out of 5. Pretty disappointing there. How do you
that's
feel about his
dread-
results?
I'm very disappointed.
I'm disappointed.
And the fact that I had to show the manker. All right, I'm ready.
All right, Amanda. How well do you know Jonesy? Question number 1. In what year was Jonesy born?
Oh, this is a hard one. 68?
Is correct. Well done. What was the name of the community station in Bankstown where Jonesy started?
2BC?
2BCR. I'll give you that.
Hang on. Where's the R?
Yeah,
was sitting on it.
It was coming. What was the name of Jonesy's memoir?
50 Shades of 50.
Yes, very good.
Yeah, but mine was easier.
Oh, stop.
Which Channel 10 reality show did Jonesy almost host?
The Bachelor.
Correct.
According to him.
Just because Channel 10 execs don't like it.
4 out of 4. Question number 5. What was the name of Jonesy's character in the 2007 TV show Pizza?
Oh, Was this where you played the mayor, or was that another one?
Was it the journalist?
Yeah, it was a riff
Pizza.
on a very famous journalist.
Yeah, you
Oh,
remember? And you
No,
played.
no.
You played
no,
Jessica Bro.
And you were, it was it sort of a pun about
Yeah.
Karl Stefanovic?
Yeah.
Karl Stefanovic?
No.
Stick your dick up, Povic.
What was it, Jonesy?
Carl Stefano.
Karl Stefanovic
I
it
should get
was.
half a point.
No.
Half a stiffy. Well done. 4 out of 5. So you know Jonesy better than he knows
Thank you, Bucky, and I appreciate
I think
it.
those questions are very hard.
Well, too bad. Pump Up the Jam is such an incredible book. Everyone should get it. Congratulations on writing it. Congratulations on your 20 years on radio. And I can't wait to see what you guys do in 2026.
You're unreal, and thank you.
Do yourself a favour.
Go get it from Booktopia. Thanks,
I'll do
guys.
the thumbs up, but it put people off.
Pixelate that thing, please.
Follow or subscribe to From the Newsroom wherever you get your podcasts.